Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday preview with myself, Dave Massey. It's Friday night, 7:30, and we are in our new house, which is rather nice. So, unfortunately, I haven't got the clock now. The clock's gone missing. I have to get a new one. So, I have to take my word for it that it's 7:30. We've finally got the internet in today. So, I've been having a look at the cards this afternoon. As I suspected, there's not a great lot that I'm particularly interested in tomorrow. I've got one race at Doncaster, which unsurprisingly is the Portland. And there's a couple of races at Chester that might be worth a bet as well. One of those is a race where I've got one off an eye catchers list, so I'll tell you all about that one shortly. As far as the St Ledger itself goes, I've not got any great interest in it now as a betting contest. I'm sort of kicking myself for not backing Sir Dragonet earlier in the season, because when he won the Chester Vase, I thought there and then he'd be a St Ledger horse. I suppose the fact that it's going to be quick ground tomorrow does put you off Sir Dragonet a little bit, but I've always thought the St Ledger, mile 6 up that Doncaster Straight, the Donny Straight would be right up his alley. And I think if the ground was a little bit softer, I'd be very confident of him beating Magician tomorrow. But as it stands, I'm not interested at sort of 5-2 tonight. I can let it go. We'll have a look at the Portland now. Unfortunately, the one that I thought I might end up going with has been well backed, and as such, I sort of took another look at the race. A Moment of Madness is the stunningly obvious one, really, in the race. He's off a lower mark than when he won this last year. He did us a turn in this last year, actually. He did us a right favour. And he's got plenty going for him again. Again, as I made the point at York, he is a 5.5 furlong horse. It's a weird one, but that's exactly what he is. 5.5 furlongs is what he wants. I don't think the ground will bother him too much. It was quick at York, and it was quick enough when he won here last year. It was only just above standard, literally thousandths above standard. So I don't think he'll mind the ground. I think that'll be fine. Still 13 right up the middle. I think that might well be the place to be. So he's got a lot going for him, but as I say, the price has gone. There was double figures around a couple of days ago. He's now 7s. Fine. Look, listen, if he wins, he wins. And if he drifts back a little bit, I may yet have a win bet on him. But it does sort of make me want to look elsewhere for a couple of others. And in a tough race, and it is a tough race, I've ended up having a couple of small each way bets. Firstly, on one that I've been blathering on about all season, Dazzling Dan, who looked really good when he won here in November last year. That was on soft ground, but he absolutely hosed up, and he acts at Doncaster fine. First time out this season, only got beaten ahead. I don't know how he got beat that day. He got it won all ends up, and then he just sort of got himself nailed right on the line, really. But he travelled like the best horse that day, and he probably just needed that. And sure enough, we were on him when he won at Newmarket the next time. And the fact that he won that under 9-7 marked him out as a good horse. There was nothing wrong with his York effort. In fact, he's been, every run this season, he's progressive. I do like this horse a lot, Dazzling Dan. The worry will be that he might just get taken on for the lead tomorrow. As I said to you before, I don't think that's a massive worry with Dazzling Dan, because he finds plenty for pressure, and he was hassled on the lead. He was hassled on the lead at Newmarket, and he still found plenty. So, but this is a different kettle of fish now. He's stepping up a bit here. When you first look at it, it looks like Oxted who had just finished behind him at Newmarket, has got a decent chance of reversing the form. But actually, because Kieran Fallon can only claim 3 now and not 5. They're actually, it's the same weights as was at Newmarket, to all intents and purposes. Excuse me 1 second. Hay fever's kicking in again tonight. So to all intents and purposes, they're off the same sort of marks. So I think Dazzling Dan's got every chance of holding Oxted again. As I say, this is harder, so he needs to step forward again, but I've liked him all season. I don't particularly want to desert him now. 12-1's entirely fair for an improving 3-year-old. And the other one I'm going to throw a couple of quid at, and I really shouldn't. I shouldn't, but I can make a case for him. It's Konchek. He's not turned into the horse I genuinely hoped he would. I thought he might be, a sort of listed Group 3 horse. Generally speaking, this season it's been very disappointing, but he's slipped to a mark now of 98, which is very tempting. it was a lot better at Newmarket last time. They changed tactics, went from the front with him, and he ran a lot better. He got beat just over 2 lengths in a race that's thrown up. I think he's thrown up 1 win. It might have thrown up 2 winners. I can't remember offhand, but I did look at the race. It's thrown up a couple of winners, I think. The speed figure he achieved there is his best speed figure that he's achieved for a long time, for a year actually. And Clive Cox, right back in form, 4 winners in the last few days. Konchek from stall 5 then, and he will get a toe into this. He's got a little bit of pace around him. And I don't think he necessarily needs to lead. He'll have that requisite extra bit of stamina. And you can get 33-1, 7 places. Now, that just looks a little bit too big for me. I'm getting lured in by Konchek, as I say, because he is a bit of a cliff horse for me, and I should be giving up on him by now. But that run at Newmarket in July, the last time we saw him, which was some sort of 50 days ago, it was much better. And if he can build on that, then I do think there's a race in him off a marker 98. I'm sure of it actually that there's a race in him off a marker 98, and it could just be that the stars will align tomorrow, and there's no better time to have a go at a Clive Cox horse given the form that they are in. They've just had a couple of winners tonight at Salisbury as well. They're in cracking form, so I think it's just enough to give Konchek one last go at a big price. As I say, I think if you gave me a £5 to put on one and said your life depends on it, it probably would be a moment of madness. But the price has gone. I'm happy to let him win at 7s now and try a couple of bigger prices. At a whopping price, I did give Tarentum Star a second look, simply because it's first run for David Griffiths and it's got Phil Dennis on board. I do like Phil Dennis as a jockey. I think he's rather underused. I think he's a bit underrated. I do like him a lot. And Tarentum Star, first time up this season, when he won at Beverley, looked like he was in for a really, really good season. And since then has just gone backwards. He's just been beaten out of sight in 4 starts. And you're sort of trying to find excuses for them. And there are excuses perhaps for a couple of those efforts. One of them particularly on soft ground at Hamilton, where he just got completely tailed off. Ripon last time, it maybe should have done a little bit better, but that's not the first time he's run badly at Ripon. There's just... If you wanted to, there are excuses there, and he's a 50 chance to Tarentum Star. 66, I think, with one firm. And I was sort of half tempted to throw a couple of quid at him each way as well. But I think the 2 that I'll put up are, for punt followers tomorrow, will be Dazzling Dan and the other one, and Konchek will be the 2. Rest of the Doncaster card, I couldn't give a monkey's about, to be honest. I think it's a very moderate card. I'm happy to let it go. Chester, first race at Chester tomorrow, 1:30. How many horses are going to turn up for this? I'm hoping 8. There are 8 in it at the moment, and I really, really hope we get the dead 8, because I will be having a good each way bet on one here. That is Strox of Tim Easterby's. Has run well both starts, improved from his first start to his second start at Carlisle, and I think the way that he ran at Carlisle in a race that I think is going to work out very, very well. It already is. I mean, Lampang won it. Came from the same yard. Went off a 7-2 chance. He beat Panic Room. The 2 of them came flying through at the finish. Now, Panic Room hosed up. Panic Room I like a lot. And he hosed up at Haydock last week, Panic Room, on ground that would really have suited him. And Strox ran really well, I thought. Looked at one point like he might have a say in the finish, but as I say, both Lampang and Panic Room have come from off the pace, and they were the best 2 horses. Strox was best of the rest and went off a 28 chance. So nothing really was expected from Strox. Now, this is his 3rd run, so the worry is, of course, that he's just going to have one more for a mark in a nursery somewhere. But I don't think this is that strong. The horse that is the sort of the form horses of the race, Deb's Delight and Hubor, he hasn't got that much to find. If he can take another step forward, he's not a million miles behind him. And as I say, they both got penalties to carry. And Strox gets a useful £6 off Deb's Delight. So, I think that brings him into it. I think Chester is going to suit him a bit better than Carlisle did, given that he showed plenty of speed at Carlisle and then just got run out of it late. He's got stall 7 to cope with, but I don't think it's not a big field, so I don't think stall 7's a massive issue. Quicker ground tomorrow won't be a problem. As I say, I think it's a race where, I mean, 2 or 3 of these have got no chance, appear seemingly on form. You're probably talking about 5 in with some sort of a squeak. So I'm really hoping that the dead 8 line up, because if they do, Strocks at around about sort of 6-1, 13-2 looks a cracking each way bet to me. I think you need a sledgehammer to keep it out of the frame, and you've got a really good chance of winning copping the jackpot. So Strocks in that 130 at Chester. And then we go to the other end of the card, bookending the card, 5 o'clock. An obvious one, but, it's there. And there is some 4-1 around this evening, which I think is perfectly fair, on Medalla d'Oro. The more I go through this race, the more I struggle to find where the pace is coming from, with the exception of Medalla d'Oro, who made all here back in July, off a marker 77, marker 79 tomorrow, so a couple of pounds higher. But the fact is that as the only front runner in the race, he's pulled stall 1 out as well. The fact that he has got that extra couple of pounds on his back, he's sort of negated by the fact he is going to he should get a very easy time of it on the front here. Côte d'Azur used to front run, but they've been sort of having him held up a bit more these days, and Lazaire's not really in any great form anyway. I thought he might be a danger, and he's drawn 13 Côte d'Azur. So I thought Medalla d'Oro from trap 1, and he got a tremendous chance really in a race. I don't think he'll take a lot of winning. There's a lot of these that they're okay horses, but they're only okay. It's that sort of a contest. And I thought that Medalla d'Oro, stall 1, back to Chester, has got every chance of making every yard of the running in the last. It's an obvious one, but it would be remiss of me not to point it out. Best bet tomorrow, I really hope Strocks in that 130, because I want that Panic Room form to work out well. As I say, I've got high hopes for Panic Room, shall we say. There we go then, guys. It's only a short one today. As I say, there's not a lot to get stuck into, so I wish you all the very best of luck. Have a good weekend, and I'll be back on Tuesday. Thank you.